All right, I would like to call to order the meeting of the Perkins Public Library Trust for Thursday, November 2nd at 6:01. Roll call, please.
All right, so we got Brian Huckabee.
Here.
Linda Barta.
Here.
Melissa Mills.
Here.
Charlotte Perrick. And Valerie Hill is absent.
Thank you. All right, item number 2, consideration and action on consent agenda. A, approval of minutes from the October 5th, 2023 regular meeting, and B, approval of financial reports. Is there anything that needs to be moved from the consent agenda, or do I entertain a motion to accept?
Second.
All right, and Melissa,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
and Charlotte.
Yes. Number 3, consideration of items removed from consent agenda. We had none. Number 4, public appearances, petitions, communications, and personal appearances. We have none. Number 5, consideration and discussion regarding update from Brian Huckabee on the progress of the new library project.
Well, the concrete's done, the rubble's hauled off. I went the other day after the rain, and it looks like what we graded is not holding water, so at least temporarily it's in good shape. Still needs more work for final completion. The door and frame and hardware were delivered. I can't remember, it was one day last week when it was raining, so I had them drop them in my shop in Stillwater instead of getting out in the rain. And we hauled them down last night. And I talked to Tommy Roper last week. I called him yesterday. He came and got a key from you
I was gonna say,
today,
whoever came by, came by and brought it back.
and he brought it back. So, and I talked to him on the way home, and he's going to be down there next week and start tearing out the old door.
Or install it in.
Will that all happen in one day, or will there need to be some sort of temporary
Yeah, he'll do it.
security?
We talked about that. He'll put a temporary up if need be, to
Complete.
because it'll take more than one day. Because when we tore the concrete and stuff on the outside, some of it went underneath the door.
Uh-huh.
So now it's the old masonry has a bow in it, and there's a lot of stuff going on at that opening. So, and I trust Tommy to take care of it. So.
He said it looks like fun.
Yeah, he's got resources at his disposal, and I think he's been a friend of the library in the past, and I trust him to do it. And he's set up as a vendor, and I think he's done a lot of work for the city, and so I trust him to do it right.
I agree.
So he started on that.
And that's next week.
Yep.
Okay.
So if all goes well, I don't know what resources he's got lined up, but maybe by the end of next week we've got that door done.
Okay.
We still have another door on the back wall that needs to be taken care of. And we have that rotten wood on the back wall that needs taken care of. And I'm gonna talk to Tommy about that too and see if he can deal with some of that for us. I think last time I brought up the sandblasting on that north wall for the paint. And since then, I've talked to one of the EFS contractors who then talked to a Drive-It representative who sent him some test data. Because I was trying to figure out if we really have to spend $5 grand to sandblast. sounds like there's some testing that could be done, like a pull test. You prime it, put adhesive on it, put a block of styrofoam, and it's like 4 trips. And by the time you pay somebody who knows what they're doing 4 trips,
May as well pay 5,000.
then you might fail the test.
I was gonna say.
So I decided to skip that, so I think we're back to sandblasting. And I only have one number. I've called somebody else on sandblasting. And I mean, honestly, it's a big wall, and if any of you have been around sandblasting, it doesn't go super fast. So, I mean, 5,200 doesn't sound bad to me.
Right.
I'm trying to get one more number just to have comparison so we know we're getting a good deal.
So I'd be scared that some of those bricks will
Clay tiles will come off. Like,
Yeah.
don't sandblast too hard.
get more holes in them.
I was there when we dropped the frame off last night. I was down there looking at that back wall, and you'll see a spot that's flaking. You can pull paint and a chunk that big comes, but then there's a huge portion of wall where it's all intact, and like, that ought to be okay. But then you look up higher, and everywhere you look, there's big chunks of paint.
Yeah, bubbles in it.
So to do it right, I think we gotta blast it. So I think if I get another price, then I'll call Bob and get a PO set up.
Steve will get that angle iron out of there this week too.
Okay.
He didn't have room to put the marquee down to get it in the marquee, but he said to let you know he would get it.
So we'll get the blasting scheduled soon. The EFS, I did get another official quote on. And if I use the square foot price the guy gave me before, I mean, he gave me a total, but then it was based on square footage and a square foot price. And instead of 20,000, it's like 36,000 for the actual footage. I've got another number that's 33,000, and is, I think, a more qualified contractor and a cheaper.
And all 3 walls. Okay.
But we might still, depending on how adding the doors goes on the back,
Right.
the wood repair, some of that stuff, I'm still inclined, if I can get them to do 2 mobilizations, do the north and south wall and come back a couple weeks or a month later and do the back wall for the same price, we might split it up that way. So or at least getting some progress. And the masonry, I already shared numbers with you on that, and I'm waiting on one more number. So I guess those are big enough numbers we've got to get, well, we'd like to have multiple quotes. They're under the 100,000 threshold for public bid, they're under the 50,000, whatever, but, so I guess if you can text me like 2 days before our next deadline to get everything, run up the flagpole to put on the agenda.
That needs to happen next month. Okay, gotcha. And that's for those purchase orders.
Yeah, so we,
Purchase orders for the masonry and the
then we can, everybody can see the proposals, we can make a vote, select somebody, and be ready to go on those.
Okay.
So our next deadline's the 16th of
16th.
November, if that helps. And I'm gonna send out reminders and everything, and like an email that says what the date is.
Yeah, with Thanksgiving in there, I'm sure that's why it has to.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them out early and posted.
Did you locate those EFS color pieces? I know Valerie was gonna check too, but.
Yeah. I'm 99% sure she gave them to me, and I've either left them here somewhere, I dug around the house, I don't know where they're at. But I can
They
get
might be
more.
down at the new building, because I mean, they're not in this one, but maybe.
Yeah, they could be behind something down there, but if I don't find them in the next few days, I'll just get some new ones.
Okay.
So if we do vote on that next go around, we'll want to have samples, and we can
Yeah.
pick
Pick colors.
And I'm not the color guy, I'll just pick white. And white's not the right color down there, obviously. So, and it's a big wall, so it's
Yeah.
a big decision.
It is a big decision.
So you guys might all be just kind of daydreaming about doing.
Better be thinking about it before then.
Do you have like
The,
I
ren-
mean,
the
what-
rendering has kind of a beige
Beige.
tan color.
Yeah.
But I don't think we want to go as light as like Pink County Pink.
No, that's too light.
It's too light.
So we
I
need
feel
to-
like-
As light as what?
Too light as Payne County Bank.
Yeah,
I feel like it's too light.
yeah.
Well, if you do it too light, it's gonna wind up pink.
Yeah.
From the red clay.
Well, and knowing that our parking lot is right there too, could be a factor also. You know, people walking along that side or whatever. But, so, I don't know. Ask your family, friends, what color they think would be best.
I think something in the brown family, but I don't.
Yeah, I do
know.
too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Brownish gray.
Yep. Yep.
And then there's a few textures available that you can pick from too, so.
Right.
you know,
Make that decision. Gotcha.
The brick, I think you guys have all seen that brick blend from Acme. And that's as good as it gets based on my past experience. So it's, you'll never find an exact match. If you go stand in front of that building, you will find 4 different patch jobs. There's original brick, there's patch 1, patch 2, and patch 3. There's a lot going on, so.
But I think anything that is close, as long as it's uniform for those other 3 walls, will be good. Gotcha.
So you're saying that for the next meeting, your hope is to have the information for us to vote on the sandblasting price.
Well, I think the blasting's a small enough item and.
You can do without.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's-
Okay.
It needs done
Right away.
for the word.
Right.
It's under, I mean, a $5,000.
It's under 5,000.
So the two things that you'll have maybe try to get proposals for is the edifice or ephes or whatever, and then the masonry.
Yeah. I need one more masonry number, I think, just to compare.
Get it to match or to make a choice.
Those 2 right now total about 55, so the grant we got almost.
Yeah, should almost from
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the door, of course, we use the
It's
central.
already done. Okay.
Gotcha.
So we're pretty close to making the T-Mobile money
Okay.
cover.
So hopefully we can get the sales tax passed.
And then I called my painter, the paint he used on the front, he's supposed to be giving it to me, so we can do a little touch-up.
Touch-up.
Brian, you remember several years ago when we voted on a tax and half of it was to go to the library and the other half to either the fire, I think.
Might have been before my time here, I don't remember that.
And it's what we use to repair things when they break, or the roof when it leaks.
So capital improvement type money?
Yeah, but I wondered why it couldn't be, why that,
Was that
and I don't remember whether it had a specific number of years to
I was gonna
run.
say, I was guessing maybe it was a year,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Charlotte? I don't know, that would be a question though, definitely to ask.
Bob might know.
But,
Bob won't be back till
I think
next
it's
week.
brilliant
He's
to
out of town.
link it with the Parks and Rec.
But I think they're gonna be 2 separate questions though. This-
Oh, will it? Oh.
all right.
I'd be inclined, I've lived here my whole life, I'd vote for both of them, because they both,
Well, yeah, but I think people might think it's an either or.
well, hopefully they can word it such that everybody understands it's both, or it's not either or.
Right. Both are needed.
Because I took a lot of money out of my own pocket to put sprinklers on ball fields. I was on that board for like 8 years plus down there, fighting stickers, and I drive my mower up there every weekend and mow the infields. So, yeah, I mean, it would be good for the whole city. I mean, we do have more than one park. And a lot of people don't know that park, and if they do, they quit going because it's covered in stickers, and it needs some money spent on it. There could be some improvements at Peters Park.
Peters, yeah.
I mean, we're library board, so we shouldn't even be talking about parks, but I'd support both of them, so.
park with the tree.
All right, number
Is there-
6,
is there
consideration
anything
sorry,
didn't cover
on new
Got it.
project? I don't think so. We've got the next one is the consideration and discussion on the next steps of the new library renovation, number
the next
6.
steps, we kind of.
So that was kind
That
of
is the next
gave
steps,
us
and I guess,
together.
you know, and at that point, we're not totally out of funding. We still have a few sources we could tap for small things.
Right.
So we still have utilities to get in. So I'd say that's the next step is probably
Work on utility.
the utilities in the building, and then hopefully the tax proposal does go through and we get some funding coming and
Why would we want to run a gas line to it?
why would we?
When you're running stuff, it's easier to run it now
Right,
than
run
to
it now.
decide you need it later. And depending on how cheap or expensive heating and cooling systems are. I mean, I have both at my house. I have electric and I have gas both, and we've got capability for both. But, I mean, and that's because, Charlotte, I have free gas at my house. Well, but,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what that future is going to be.
Exactly.
And while you're running that pipe, you might as well get it run while you've got your trenches and stuff there.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, my thought, I mean, if we had made a decision on whether we're using gas heat or not, we at least just put the pipe in, and then we can make that decision late in the game if need be, or
So you never know who we might get a grant with, too.
maybe 15 years from now, when a rooftop unit blows up, or, you know, it's time to change equipment out,
We
then
wanna do,
And you might be able to get through a OG&E or whoever.
it'll make more sense
Yeah.
in the decades to come.
Or, yeah. That's true.
But that's the next step, and then I think beyond that, I think we end up tapped out, most likely. But maybe by then, the conversation will be full set of
Full set of
plans,
plans.
put the whole thing out to bid, because we may have the funding to do so.
Well, and I know Friends is supposed to have a meeting the 14th, I think is the
I'm pretty
date
sure it's the
you
14th.
gave me. And I know with the campaign of sending out letters and such, that hopefully there's some funds being generated that's designated building. So hopefully we will have some then. I also spoke with,
Someone had a
I
number.
should go to the next one.
Oh, for fundraising?
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else we got for next steps?
No,
All right, number 7, consideration and discussion regarding fundraising ideas. Which of course, we talked about the tax proposition on November 14th. But because Friends had sent out all their letters, there's a real potential, there's some funds that they may be needing to push our direction. I don't know. Have they spoke any about doing something to, like, big again or not?
Not quite yet. Like, it keeps getting thrown out there, like, it'd be fun to do the gala again, but
Right.
we don't, I think it's building steam back up to do it again.
Right.
Because at the moment, I'm like, I'm a little swamped, so I can't be the main headliner on that.
At that time, there were some younger
Right.
girls that
Yeah.
got excited about it
Yes.
and were doing it, and I don't know whether we have any like that anymore.
Well, and by that November date that the city commission meets, we'll know kind of where that direction's going to. So I don't know that the fundraising needs to be a goal right now.
A focus, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else on the fundraising aspect?
Can I ask a question about, because I mean, so we were talking about the tax, and so if that passes, then we would get a loan.
So what I understood him to say at the last meeting is that if the city commission votes to approve to put it on the vote in February,
and it gets passed by
and
the
it passes in February, then we can potentially get a loan based on those numbers of what's projected. Yes.
Okay.
I think if we could get some of the people who are willing to give a generous amount advertised, I mean, if they were willing to put their picture in the paper and give
Name out there,
that it would help a lot.
it might, you're right.
Well, I think I walked in at the right time. I have some books in a box about this big that I want to donate to the library. How do I do that?
So you can just bring them in during our normal.
What's that?
As I say, you can just bring them in during our normal operation hours.
Well, I don't have them with me now.
Okay.
I don't know when the place is open.
We're open from 10 to 6 Monday through Thursday and 10 to 5 on Friday. And then on Saturday,
Okay.
we're open from 10 to 1.
I can do that.
All right, yeah, just bring them on in and we'll help you haul them
Well,
in.
I will need help.
All right.
I'm parked in the medical space out here.
Oh, like,
Okay, yeah, I'll catch you.
oh, okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Bye. I haven't had one of those.
All right. Item number 8, consideration and discussion regarding grant opportunities. I agree with you, Charlotte. I think names need to be out there. I will tell you, I have spoken with an alumni who wants to make a significant donation and possibly a room in memory of a parent. And she wants to get it done before the end of the year. So she is
I think,
on the stick.
I think Linda would be willing to.
Yeah. So we are, if we can get those things done. Also, I have made contact with Alumni Banquet. I'm going to Alumni Banquet. I don't know if y'all are. You are? Are you going to Alumni Banquet? No.
I think if you do that, you're ready, you're old.
Okay, well, just know I'm going. And I will take our flyers and I will take whatever else I can, But anyway, I will represent us that night because I know there's a few who have had some questions.
When is that?
That is November 11th.
Is that a yearly thing, I guess?
It is. It is. And it's at the high school.
This is the first year I've gotten an invitation, and I really meant to send it in, but I haven't.
Gotcha. They've moved to such everything online now, so it's hard to get all the stuff out there. But their gift would come through a foundation. It's called, and I had to write it down because I wasn't sure, Donor Advisory Fund, iGift. It's a foundation set up in California. But the donation, it would be a grant per se, and that there would be a form that would have to be filled out, but it's not to the extent of like the Sarkis grant or something like that.
But it would come with the idea of naming rights.
Yes. They would like to know what rooms are available or what the starting point is.
Well, maybe that's something we go ahead and add to the agenda, because we've talked about it a few times. I need to print floor plans, put on the agenda, so next time we can identify areas.
Specific
And
rooms.
say, this area we could name, this area we could name. We've talked about it in general terms before, but I think we'd rather just make it final,
Yes.
official, and say, here
I
are the
agree.
areas that are left to name.
Yeah.
And there's not an unlimited number of areas,
Right.
so.
Yeah. But I told her I would send her an email next week with a little more information about where we're at, because I told her we had a meeting tonight, and then the city commission meets next week. But she had contacted me. She had spoken with
I
you.
was wondering.
So she had spoken with you last month,
Yeah.
and she called me yesterday.
I've been trying to send stuff to that one email and it keeps bouncing back.
Oh,
I'm like,
well.
I have no way to get a hold of her.
I got it.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're good. So I will try to help get that next week to her, so all that information.
Just trying to look her up on Facebook.
But I'll need to send her the form from the city attorney. I will need to send her our updated projects of what we've got accomplished. But definitely we'll get that out there to them.
And we're 100% sure that it is on the agenda for the city council meeting?
Yes.
It is, okay.
We were told by Bob that night he would make sure that it was on the November 14th.
I'm sure you did.
verify.
I'm sure you did, yeah.
A slightly related subject, I guess, on that. We were kind of compiling a list of people, organizations who had donated time, money, resources. Where is that?
I have a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So I have added,
We had
I've
Grider,
added Kreider, I've added,
we had Steve Barr.
but
Okay.
it's okay.
So we need to all stay on top of that anytime somebody does. have-
Yes. Yeah, and all I have put is donated services, because I don't know what a monetary amount to assign to that.
Is Tommy Roper on that list?
It was not on the list I had from the city.
You could ask Allison, because I think he organized a lot of help to do a lot of that useful demolition
Gotcha.
down there.
Which I know on that one
Cleaning
line.
out and everything and taking off the
Right.
thing in the front.
But part of the problem is because our donations are going to friends, they're not sharing us who's giving us the money. And so,
But I think they could share names. We don't need to know dollar amounts necessarily, but I think would still be nice to have.
I need
even
the
if it's
list.
in
It's gonna take a
categories, we
lot of
have a huge plaque with everybody who's done anything related.
To help.
So there's been a discussion on ethics with releasing the names unless that person's been notified.
Well, and that's fine. Then friends can notify everybody and say,
Exactly.
mind if we make it
Public.
publicly known that you are a supporter of the library.
So does Friends send a thank you note to those folks, or do I need to send a thank you note to those folks?
I need to check. I feel like there's someone who does thank you notes, but I'm not exactly sure who it is anymore or who that
Well,
would
you'll be
be.
at their
We've had a lot of changing of
I don't know
names.
whether Allison actually did it or if she knows who did it.
Allison used to, and then somebody asked, and I'm like, I don't have that mailing. I don't even know where to begin with that. And they're like, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And I don't know who was taking care of it. I don't know if that person.
Could you check at the next meeting?
Yep, I already
Okay.
made a note.
Because I want to make sure that those people are thanked. We made sure to put it like on the Facebook page that day with a picture of Cimarron Valley Co-op and them. But like, the school donated their dumpsters to us, and Cimarron Valley Co-op donated their dumpsters to us. And so those are still,
Donations.
they're still donations. And so I want to make sure people are not left off the list.
And they mean a lot. I mean, what Grider did could have been, $2,000.
Exactly.
And he did it quickly, and
Oh, so quickly.
we didn't have to ask more than once. He
Yeah.
just, the
Yeah.
next day was gone.
Yeah, he took care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely want to send a thank you as well as that recognition on Facebook, because I feel like, and I don't mind doing that, but I just need to know.
But we as the trust, I guess, could do that.
Yes, and I can do that as the trust for sure. And then, as things come in from this point forward, I don't mind writing a note to those folks. It's just hard for me to go back
Right.
because I only know what's happened since really October. I mean,
Of course, the Friends have been raising money for it since when? It's 1917 or
Right.
18.
I've seen like thank yous, I've done it to grants and stuff, but I don't know where to send it. Like if the writers came and did all that hauling, I don't even know where
I've got
to
an
send it.
address for that.
Okay.
I can make that happen.
But we still might try to share that list around.
I can put it as a shared document. I can put it in Google Drive and share it. I can't do it as a document, like a Word document and share it though.
Is it in Excel or Word or what?
Word doc.
It's a Word.
But as a Google Drive, you can definitely share it to people, but you have to have a Gmail account to share that.
Well, even if it's not shared, I mean, if you just send it as a Word doc.
Oh, and so you can see the list.
Just see it.
Okay.
So not that we
Yeah.
can all,
Yeah, I don't mind.
just so we can all see it, and if we're perusing the list, we're like, well, I don't see so-and-so.
Yes.
We can email
Yes,
And then say,
that would be helpful, because you and I had gone through and highlighted
Yes.
those names from the city, and that's what I took off.
Okay.
And that's what I made that first spreadsheet with. So,
yeah, if you want to just share the document itself, and then we can, everybody can browse through it and see.
And I guess, do we need to ask the city for an updated one at some point, periodically?
it would be nice if they could, because we received that one in June,
Yeah.
and we haven't gotten one since.
So it might be nice, like every 6 months.
Yeah.
To get from
Yeah.
the city. So maybe in December.
But the donations the city gets directly probably go straight to the library itself, not necessarily the trust, I'm guessing.
Well, they gave us a printout of who had donated to the trust.
Right. But they don't have and on it, there's line item for Friends of the Library, but we don't have the names from the Friends of the Library. We just
Right.
have a bulk amount.
Well, we need to just make a suggestion to friends that they get permission to share those names, and then share them with us. We can add them to our master list,
Right.
so that when the time's right, everybody that's done anything
It's
gets
hopefully recognized, yeah.
recognition at the same level.
Right.
So,
And I think it doesn't have to be necessarily like a permanent plaque. It can be a banner, like a grand opening
Right.
banner thing.
That could stay up for a while, and not
and then
necessarily
forever.
permanently.
well, I was still thinking a permanent plaque
Do you?
at some point.
Gotcha.
There was a plan to have a wall with all the names.
We've got a lot of wall space there, right by that front door. I always pictured a plaque as big as it needed to be.
Yeah.
And odds are we'd get a donor to pay for that plaque too.
Right.
So, but I think that'd be good. It'd be kind of neat. Kids come in and see grandma and grandpa's name on the wall someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've started saving some things. I'll try to print them off and bring them next time. I've seen some different like donor wall ideas.
Yes.
It's nice when it has things you can, like little things you can add to it and make.
Yeah, and not have to send it off every time, just
Right,
a little
exactly.
gold
Yes.
sticker.
See,
or
there
a-
are plaques for the ones that's donated for this one.
Yes, out there in the wall. And they're divided up.
They did that more by amount, not just what, not just everything, but.
Right. Another grant that I am working on to have Friends approve is the Sarkees Foundation grant for this next grant cycle. The letter of inquiry is due December 1st. I sent 2 letters, an official letter of inquiry and a bullet point, because I can't get in there without an account. And so I can't see all the pieces of it, so I've got 2 documents that we could cut and paste from, if that makes sense. But I sent those to Jennifer today. Once Friends meets next week, and if they approve to let us, help use their organization to send that grant through, Jennifer and I can sit down and get that sent, hopefully before Thanksgiving is our goal. But I used some of our other grants and pulled pieces that matched their criteria.
Okay.
So, but it is written for framing, drywall, insulation. Is the way it's
I
written.
mean, it's a $50,000 grant.
And it's $50,000.
I can see the framing, drywall and insulation will come, there'll be a big lag.
Yeah.
Depending on whether or not we get tax
But,
money.
and it's okay to be lagged with it. It can be up to a year.
Okay.
So they have 6 months out, they want a report of what's been done, and then a year out, they want a report of what's been done. So they are okay with the lag of a year.
And we could even maybe wrap the utilities in that then.
Do you think? Okay. I'll have to make some changes to it, but I can do that.
How much did they give us that we
Sorry,
used?
40.
40, we used,
Sarkees had given us 40 prior.
Wow.
we used on the
Trusses.
trusses and stuff.
I went back and read that one because I wasn't sure exactly.
So are you saying, Brian, to not do the drywall, but do utilities instead? Or were you
Yeah,
saying,
it's something to contemplate, because that's I think we still have some slush money that would cover utilities, but if we didn't have to use that. Because if there is too big a gap, if you only have a 1-year window,
Yeah.
and we don't get the tax revenue issue to do the rest of it, We're not gonna be drywalling anything before we get electric in.
Right, you gotta get electric first.
And those are big contracts that we don't have that kind of money sitting around to just go ahead and get electric done.
I thought we had already had, I thought that was gonna be the next step, so I didn't include it.
Well, yeah, and you're right. I mean, we have, I think, capital improvement money still sitting there that could cover
The utilities.
the utility portion, but there potentially could be too big a gap
Gotcha,
for insulation and drywall.
Gotcha.
That's all I'm getting at.
gotcha.
And there's concrete cutting to be done for the utility, for the plumbing work inside that we could say is part of the utility package. And that could be $5,000 worth of concrete demo inside.
Gotcha. So do you think that 50 would cover that or not? Do I leave all those items to that 50,000?
I still think the drywall and insulation, we could,
Shouldn't be on there.
Take off those two. Okay.
I would say utilities
And framing,
and framing and plumbing rough end.
plumbing, utilities, okay. Is utilities and plumbing separate, or is that the same thing?
It can be separate. I mean, utilities to the building and the plumbing rough end would be inside the building.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if that's two things or one.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I can do that.
holler if you need input on
Yeah.
verbiage or whatever.
Well, and this first letter of inquiry is very basic. It's not as in-depth as if you are chosen then to make the formal application in January. So within 2 weeks of us submitting that by December 1st, so by the middle of December, we'll know
If you need.
if we need to then address specifics and get a budget and all that together. But I can make that happen. All right, are there any other grant opportunities y'all are aware of? All right. Item 9, consideration, discussion, and possible action to approve Resolution 11-2023, a resolution calling for the establishing meeting dates for the Perkins Public Library Trust of the City of Perkins, Oklahoma for the year of 2024. In your packet, you have those.
And it's pretty much the same, first Thursday with the exception of
July.
July, because it would have been on the 4th of July.
Why is July 11th at 7?
We have to follow a meeting.
Yes.
We're behind another meeting at 6, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Works for me.
All right, entertain a motion for that.
Motion to accept?
I'll second it.
All right, perfect. Melissa first, Charlotte second.
Melissa,
Yes.
Charlotte,
Yes.
Brian,
Yep.
and Linda.
Yes. All right, passes. Number 10, new business. I don't think we have any new business. Number 11, adjourn. Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Alyssa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brian.
You were fast enough. All right, Melissa,
Yes.
Brian,
Yep.
Linda,
Yes.
and Charlotte. All righty, then I got some fun things for y'all to sign.
All right, 6:40.
Yep.